Hey everybody, it's your grandma. I've been playing a ton of the new Zelda lately, and it's been blowing my fucking cock off. I don't think I've been this enchanted by a new game since I first played Mario Odyssey back in 2018. Nintendo have taken one of the most mechanically flexible AAA video games ever made and opened it up into a full-on physics sandbox. The systems of old have been streamlined and expanded upon, so a lot of the clunk has been removed. And the shit they added is just like, holy shit. So your guy wakes up and finds out he's part of the False Arm Club and that he can do crazy magic shit. Like in the last game, except this time it's from his hand instead of a stupid tablet thing. When I got the Ultra Hand ability, I was like, okay, so this is just the Magnesis ability again, but I was wrong. Because this time, you can stick things together with Goblin Goo, with which you can make all manner of kooky devices. After I got this power, I remember my brother just watched for like an hour as I ran around the starting area gluing shit together to make a bridge to the top of the Temple of Time.
Shit, no!
Which, as it turns out, was stupid and pointless because you can just use the Ascend ability and get there in like 10 seconds. When I saw you could do this, fucking fireworks went off my brain. I've seen one other game where you can phase through walls or whatever, but nothing like this. This shit is a marvel just because, as a game designer, how the fuck does one balance this shit and keep it all in check so that the game isn't completely broken? It's like, yeah, we made a huge open world game with a large emphasis on physics simulation, which is already a finicky nightmare in every other video game ever made. And on top of that, we're gonna let the player phase through the ceiling whenever they feel like it. Like, okay, then we have the fuse ability. Holy cheese, dude. I know there are lots of other games where you can craft weapons and shit, but unlike those games where it's done in these abstract crafting menus, it's done with in-game physics objects, which is just fucking baller. Mostly anything you see can be fused to your weapon or shield. I had so much stupid fun going around attaching random shit to my stuff. I attached a sword to a hand, so it was like the hand was holding the sword for me. I attached a puzzle piece to my shield, which I was just appalled that you could even do that. I attached a minecart to my shield, which lets you grind on rails like Sonic. I attached a rocket, which lets you shoot up in the air. I attached an open flame to my grandmother. I also tried attaching deployable items, which pretty much just activates them the same way as if you threw them. But I didn't realize that until I got this bright idea of, what if I attached a bomb to my sword? And then we have the time ability, which is really interesting on a technical level because it means the game has to somehow keep track of every object around your guy so you can rewind it. I will say though that it doesn't seem as cool to me as like the old time mechanic where you could freeze something and build potential energy with it, which is just way more unique and cool to me. You can do some cool shit with it though, and I love the little snap your guy does when he releases the objects. It's so satisfying. You kind of feel like the squirrel in Over the Hedge when he does this shit. It's not perfect. It has way more cutscenes and cinematic narrative stuff, which is weird, because one of the things people praised most about the last game was how minimal all that was. Like originally you just got 1 or 2 short cutscenes and the game basically let you loose, but now the plot is a bit more complex and they front load you with a lot more cutscenes. Thankfully after all that, the game lets you frolic to your heart's content, and it just keeps rolling out new mechanics and content, which all somehow seems fresh in this era of AAA stagnation. So yeah, this game totally dropped my panties to the fucking floor. I can't help myself from playing it in like 10-hour long bursts. The whole time I'm just thinking about what kind of fuck shit it's gonna let me do next, and it just got my imagination going at all times. It's really weird to think how enamored I am by this game, because if I remember correctly, I didn't feel this way about Breath of the Wild back when I played that. While I still appreciated the game's cutting edge design and enjoyed my time with it, I never had any strong emotions about it like the ones I've just expressed for its sequel. I didn't get to play the game until maybe a year after it came out, so At that point, I had already seen most of the crazy shit that was in the game online. Seeing people gush about all the cool new stuff was great in its own way, but it was only a vicarious experience for me, which is no replacement for the feeling of witnessing a groundbreaking piece of art for yourself. Though I didn't even know the ending to the game's actual plot at that time, I would say, without vitriol, that seeing all of that coverage of the game kinda spoiled it for me.
Where have you been searching all along?
Now, that revelation might sound a bit strange because when we think of spoilers, we don't think about the base mechanics of a video game. We think about major plot revelations, twists, turns, I am your father, that sort of shit. And that's totally correct. You don't want to be spoiled on that because those are the moments that drop your fucking panties. If I'm going on a first date with some hunk and I'm thinking, you know what? We'll see where the night takes us. And then he pulls up and I come outside. I just spent like 3 hours doing my hair and my makeup, and I have this perfect outfit on with like a pair of shoes that I stole from my roommate. And this dude rolls down his window and he's all like, yeah, so we're not going to the restaurant. I was thinking maybe we would just have sex right now instead. Like here on your front lawn. I am not accepting that proposition. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to get fucked. And if you want to fuck me on my front lawn later, let's do it. I want some goddamn breadsticks first. And that's what it's like having a plot spoiled for you. When someone tells you that Dumbledore dies at the end of the 6th movie, it's like getting fucked on your front lawn. Because the whole movie was building up to that point. You had Dumbledore and Harry hanging out doing magic shit. You had this neo-Nazi kid fucking around with like a cupboard. You had drama, stakes, expectations, and emotions that all culminated in this one shocking, devastating moment. Except they didn't really, because the whole time while all of this shit was happening, you were just thinking, Dumbledore's gonna fucking die, and I can't do shit about it. And that kinda ruins it. But what about Tears of the Kingdom? Like I said, the most crucial moments of that game for me were some of its earliest, and it was the basic mechanics that wowed me. But that shit's supposed to be a selling point, and you can see it shown in all of the advertisements surrounding the game. Can something really be a spoiler if it's being shown off in promotional material and the vast majority of customers know about it going in? Yes. This is down to personal taste, but my policy when it comes to movies or games that I already know I'm going to watch or play is that I want to go in pretty much blind. Maybe I'll watch the first trailer, and in the case of games, I'll look at some reviews after the game launches to make sure it actually works before I buy it. But aside from that, I'd say one can only stand to gain from knowing as little as possible. Because at that point, I have faith that the artist who created that work will show me a good time. I don't need to be sold on anything. It surprises me then that there's actually a culture of people who seem to feel the exact opposite way about spoilers that I do. If you go online and search for trailer breakdown, you'll find this whole content machine of YouTubers and journalists dissecting and speculating on trailers and interviews and leaks, trying to find out as much information as possible on that media before it's released. I've never given much thought to it, but this is actually kind of insane when you think about it, and that front lawn is starting to look like a fucking orgy. Why sit here and speculate endlessly about the upcoming Marvel movie, in my opinion spoiling it for yourself, when you can just wait 2 months and let it speak for itself? But hey, I'm not trying to shut this stuff down. It obviously exists because people enjoy it, and at the end of the day, this whole spoiler discussion is about enjoyment, so I'd be a real fucking dumbass to try and take it away from people, but I just don't see the point. While writing this video, I was talking to some friends about spoilers when one friend came out and said that he just doesn't mind them. He doesn't seek them out, he's not looking up plot synopses for everything, but if he's talking to someone about a new thing that's out and he happens to get spoiled, he'll take the spoiler because a good conversation with someone is just more important to him than a blind viewing experience, which is totally fair. He also pointed me to this article published by the University of California, which presents some stats from a study that I have to believe because my brain is far too small to refute it like a respectable critic would. Basically, the position here is that some, or I guess most people, claim to enjoy movies more when they're spoiled. The reasoning given is that by being spoiled, viewers are better able to comprehend the story since their mind isn't so preoccupied with theorizing on where things are going. Also, with that mental weight taken off, viewers are given a more distanced view of the story and can better appreciate its aesthetics and craftsmanship. To me, this sounds like the difference between excitement and plain enjoyment. You can have a blind viewing that elates you and takes you on this roller coaster ride, or you can have the spoiled viewing, where your mind is more cleared up to appreciate and critique things, rather than being wrapped up in the plot. Now, I could argue that one can have both. They can have the exciting, blind first impression, but still have that enjoyable, omniscient experience on repeat viewings. After all, you can always have the spoiled experience, but you can never get back that first impression. The only issue with this logic, though, is that sometimes there are stories that are just harder to access than others. Bringing it back to video games, I have a personal anecdote about a game that I think most essayists tend to gloss over. You might have heard this before, but Dark Souls is kinda hard to get into. It took me personally several years to beat it. Whenever I played, it just seemed like this impossible task that I personally was incapable of overcoming. But I'd always found the game so fascinating that I just keep going back to it every now and again. I'd boot it up, realize that I was still stuck on this dickhead boss and his two fucking mangy fucking mutts, and turn the game back off. Between attempts though, I really enjoyed experiencing Dark Souls vicariously through the wealth of internet content surrounding it, and watching that stuff educated me on all the mechanics and tactics I needed to know to succeed. It got to the point where Dark Souls was a game I knew basically everything about, but had barely played. Eventually, I realized I was a fucking idiot and finally learned how to play correctly. Once everything clicked for me and I realized I was actually advancing through the game, this amazing wave of validation came over me, and the game became one of my all-time favorites after that. It was only because I spoiled the game for myself that I was even able to access it, and this can be true for any sort of media that's hard to get into.
Present day. Present time.
So I guess in conclusion, maybe spoilers aren't so bad after all. Sure, they can dampen your first experience with something great, take away the surprise, but that isn't such a bad thing, and to some people it might even be an improvement. And if the choice is between going in spoiled and missing out on the experience entirely, I personally would pick the former every single time. Dark Souls sequel Elden Ring released just last year, and I'd bet that a grand majority of players let spoilers seep into their experience just so they could get through the damn thing. But if you're one of those players, I'd assume you're acquainted with From Software's general approach to fuckery by now, so I challenge you. Next time they come out with a new game, try going in knowing as little as possible and see firsthand what new methods of torture they've devised. Same goes for any other game or movie or book whose quality you're convinced of. If you're confident you'll enjoy that story, see where its creators take you. It may be somewhere new and exciting. But if you're okay with knowing the ending first, or reading up on the plot, or learning all the new game mechanics beforehand, don't feel bad. People come from a variety of backgrounds and states of mind, so it's understandable that the variety of ways people experience stories be equally as diverse. Now, if you don't mind, my landlord just got done mowing the lawn, and those back shots ain't taking themselves, you feel?